But it's true. The best advice I ever got from a former NFL player was do not sleep with the prostitute unless you know for sure she's at least 40 years old. Welcome back to Odd Man Sports. I'm your host, Brandon. I haven't showered for a week, Perna. I also host a little show called That's Good Sports. And with a UK version of SNL supposedly in the works, I'm officially offering foreign versions of all of my shows to the highest bidder. That's Good Azerbaijan Sports. Any city or country whose name I can't say, I'm offering my show to. On this week's show, I'll make fun of a lot of people in sports. Like, here's a look at all of the people I'm going to make fun of. They deserve it, especially that guy. We've got Dinks and we got Dunks. Week 14 in the NFL went chalk, as the favorites went 11-2, including 10-3 against the spread. In the game of the week, the Buccaneers beat the Bills in overtime thanks to a 58-yard pass from Tom Brady to Brashad Perryman for the walk-off score. 6-yard pass by Brady that went 58 yards. And if you're wondering how Brady's receiver was so open, Perryman admitted after the game that he was freed up by a pick play, which I remind you is illegal.
I was supposed to be picking for Mike, but just so happened I went underneath and Mike went over top and basically picked for me. And Tom threw an amazing ball, and the rest was history.
So while John Mara and company are saving the integrity of the game by cracking down on taunting, illegal picks, which actually affect the outcome, are the one thing that won't get you flagged. After the game, Brady diplomatically referred to the Perryman play as a rub route, which is also what Robert Kraft calls the stretch of highway between Port St. Lucia and Palm Beach. With 4 games to go, Brady is the heavy favorite to win MVP, as he's up to -150, which means in the 2 years since teaming up with Bruce Arians, he'll likely have won a Super Bowl and an MVP. But before you call Arians a genius for building the perfect situation around Brady, remember, this is a man who likes to drink paint. And I don't mean that figuratively.
I was allergic to milk, so I was never allowed to have milk. So my brother would always get a big glass of milk and he'd run around and drink it in front of me. So Dad was painting the kitchen one time, and I saw this big can of white paint. I said, I'm getting some. Took a big gulp. Next thing I was getting my stomach pumped.
And I'm no marketing expert, but Arians should absolutely use this weird backstory to ink a sponsorship deal with Benjamin Moore. I can see the ad now. After the Bucs-Bills game on NBC, the Sunday Night Football crew had an interesting back and forth, which caught my ear.
And it was so telling, guys, after the Monday night game when Bills coach Sean McDermott was asked a very direct and very simple question. Is offensive coordinator Brian Daboll doing enough to put this offense in position to succeed? And in that situation, anything other than yes means no.
Anything other than a yes is actually a no. It's great words to live by.
Anything other than a yes is actually a no. Is a good message, though I'm not sure Mike Tirico is the guy to be delivering it, considering while at ESPN, he was accused by a half-dozen women of sexual harassment, including a story about Tirico hitting on a woman at a bar, and as she was driving home, a car came speeding up next to hers on the interstate, and it was Mike Tirico, who was waving his hand out the window as if to tell her to pull over. She sped up to escape, but Tirico sped up as well. She eventually slammed on the brakes and veered toward an exit. So it appears Tirico's actual words to live by are, if she's driving under 88, she definitely wants a date. In NBA news, Washington Wizards forward Kyle Kuzma was fined $15,000 on Friday for giving a Pistons fan the finger during a 119-106 overtime win. Kuzma said he will appeal the disciplinary fine, citing the fact that Urban Meyer also once gave a fan the finger, and nothing happened to him. Now, as of this time of the taping of this show, Urban Meyer has yet to be fired, with Jaguars owner Shad Khan saying he wouldn't make a hasty decision on his embattled coach's fate, which made me wonder if Meyer had embarrassing photos of Khan, until I remembered every photo of Khan is kind of embarrassing. Speaking of embarrassing, Cam Newton was benched for the second week in a row in a 29-21 loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Thankfully, Cam's on-field struggles don't seem to be dampening his off-field fashion choices. The Panthers QB showed up for his post-game press conference sporting a festive bow tie, which seemed a little off. But I guess there are more inappropriate times for a bow tie. As for Cam, after the game, he had this to say about his level of frustration.
You grow to bottle your emotions better. I mean, I can move some furniture right now if you guys allow me to.
Which is kind of funny, because every time I heard strange noises coming from my parents' bedroom, they would tell me they were moving furniture. And now I'm just realizing they were actually having sex with Cam Newton. Which is why I dress the way I do. Money talks! Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons had another stellar Sunday in Dallas's 27-20 win over the Washington football team. The Cowboys rookie lined up mostly on the edge and caused 4 quarters of havoc for the Washington offense. After this latest performance, Parsons is now even money, according to some sites, to win Defensive Player of the Year. And he'd be the first rookie to win the award since Lawrence Taylor in 1981. And while being compared to the most disruptive player of all time may sound lofty, football historians like Peter King are seeing clear similarities.
When I saw him chase down Mahomes, I just said to myself, man, those are, I don't, and you hate to use this, I really do. But he reminded me of Lawrence Taylor on that play.
Parsons, for his part, hasn't shied away from the comparisons, telling Sports Illustrated he even considered getting a hoop earring like the one LT used to rock. Oh, thank God for a second there. I thought Parsons wanted to register as a sex offender. As for LT's take on his protege, Micah Parsons, I'm guessing he doesn't have one, considering this is how the former Giant great recently responded when asked about the Giants' current quarterback, Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is the quarterback of LT. You mean tell me Eli's not quarterback no more? Get out of here.
As for Parsons, and who he reminds Cowboys owner Jerry Jones of, Jones evoked a different Hall of Fame linebacker / defensive end.
I remember Ernie Zampese, the great offensive coordinator, pointed to Charles Haley, and he said, you put that guy at the top of the list. He's a disruptor, and that's what we've got in a guy like Micah Parsons.
That's not a bad comp, though at least according to Michael Irvin, there is one area Parsons will have trouble measuring up to Haley.
Charles Haley was the wildest, yeah. Longest third leg on the Cowboys?
Ooh, longest third leg in the world.
Aw, man, out! Much has been made about the Raiders' decision to stomp on the Chiefs logo before going out and losing 48-9. But frankly, it hasn't been enough. I mean, who could have predicted that disrespecting hallowed Native American land would lead to bad things happening? Oh, right, every 80s horror movie ever. In fact, the Raiders' stomp was the biggest turf-related gaffe at Arrowhead since this memorable screw-up.
Hey, that's great. But who are the chefs?
Great googly moogly.
Great googly moogly is right. And the guy I feel worst for? Well, that's Raiders interim head coach Rich Bisaccia, who is fighting for his football reputation as the season goes down the tubes. And his pregame speech was probably like, "Men, to quote the great Teddy Roosevelt, walk softly and carry a big stick." And his numbnut players were like, "Walk loudly and carry a small stick." This annoying and immature NFL tradition of disrespecting opponents' logos was made famous when T.O. slammed the ball down on the Dallas Star before getting promptly upended by George Teague. Last season, Juju's pregame TikTok logo dances got him a slew of followers and eventually decleated by Von Bell of the Bengals. Not worth it. John Harbaugh and Mike Vrabel had a beef after Tennessee held a pregame meeting on the Ravens logo that left the two well-respected coaches, well, less respected. And this rah-rah college logo stuff, which frankly should end in high school, has seeped into other sports as well. Remember Kyrie Irving getting caught after a playoff game stomping Lucky, the Celtics leprechaun? That makes his holier-than-thou persona a little hard to take seriously, because you can't be like, "I will not rest until all peoples are free." And also, this imaginary leprechaun is foiling me at every turn, damn it! The Raiders followed up their big midfield gesture by laying a big stinking turd, leading to the worst defeat in the history of the rivalry. Though there was one person on the Raiders side who came out looking good, Jon Gruden, who, with the way the Raiders season went up in flames after he left, seriously might deserve Coach of the Year. All right, that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll do it again, same time, same place, next week on Man Sports.
It's in the game.